hot air sitting atop states in the west and southwest.
Amid Utah's worst drought in decades, Salt Lake City tying its record high, a blistering 107 degrees. It's the hottest start to June there on record. The extreme heat also fueling fires in parts of Utah and Arizona, and coupled with heat warnings, making it especially hazardous to be outside there. And with no rain in sight, lakes and reservoirs that millions rely on for their water supply are drying up.
It's ABC's Matt Gutman from one of those reservoirs, Folsom Lake, just outside Sacramento in California. New coronavirus concerns in the U.S. as the highly contagious Delta variant spreads quickly.
Officials have warned the Delta variant is more transmissible and may cause more severe disease. Some states with lower vaccination rates seeing a nearly 20% increase in COVID cases over the last 2 weeks. In Tennessee, where just a third of the state is fully vaccinated, the Delta variant is already taking hold. At least 10 cases in the Memphis area.
ABC's Whit Johnson. President Biden back at the White House following the summit with Russia's Vladimir Putin. ABC's Ike Ajachi with more on one reporter's question that got a lot of attention.
ABC's Rachel Scott confronted Putin about his crackdown on political opponents.
The list of your political opponents who are dead, prisoned, or jailed is long. Alexei Navalny's organization calls for free and fair elections, an end to corruption. But Russia has outlawed that organization, calling it extremist. And you have now prevented anyone who supports him to run for office. So my question is, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Putin, unfazed by the question. But when pressed, he claimed Navalny and his followers are similar to the mob of rioters who attacked the U.S. Capitol in January.
President Biden is expected to sign a bill soon, making June 19th, a federal holiday. It would be the nation's 12th federal holiday. You're listening to ABC News.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Nasal irrigation gets rid of germs by rinsing the nasal cavity, but neti pots are hard to use and, frankly, kind of gross. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. Millions use Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now it's time to start cleaning your nose with Navage. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Another crackdown in Hong Kong on pro-democracy media. ABC's Britt Clennett is there.
Hong Kong's National Security Police arrested 5 executives at the pro-democracy Apple Daily on Thursday morning and raided the media group's offices for the second time in a year as pressure mounts on the city's media. Editor-in-chief Ryan Law and 4 directors were detained on suspicion of colluding with foreign forces under the controversial national security law imposed by Beijing last summer. Police cited several articles printed in the tabloid and its online edition that called for sanctions on Hong Kong and China. Britt Clennett, ABC News, Hong Kong.
Police in Texas will be required to keep their body cameras on when investigating a crime. The new law, signed by the governor, is named for Botham Jean, the man who was killed in his own home by an off-duty cop. The police officer says she entered his apartment by mistake, thinking it was her own, and thought it was an intruder. An officer responding turned off a squad car camera. The Justice Department is now moving to drop a lawsuit against John Bolton, the national security advisor to former President Trump. The suit was filed during the Trump administration over the publication of Bolton's 2020 memoir, The Room Where It Happened. And a new scam is making the rounds with rental cars in short supply. In some areas, thieves have whipped up phony sites offering deep discounts on rentals. The key to the scam, convincing people to pay with gift cards or prepaid debit cards. This is ABC News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the list.
Good morning and happy Thursday. We're seeing a mostly clear to partly cloudy sky in spots this morning. It's a beautiful start to the day with temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. This afternoon, we'll see a mostly sunny sky, cooler and less humid today. We'll have highs today in the low to mid 80s. Clear sky overnight tonight in the upper 50s and low 60s again Friday morning. Mostly sunny sky Friday afternoon. Hotter day though. Highs Friday back in the upper 80s and low 90s. I'm meteorologist Zach Moloch in the Weather Center.
Thank you very much, Zach, for being in the Weather Center. 5 minutes after 7. Looks like our next shower of rain expected maybe Saturday evening. That's only a slight chance. And Sunday, maybe a slight chance of scattered showers. And Monday, there may be a slight chance, about 50% chance of rain on Monday and Monday night. And Tuesday, clearing out of here again. So Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. The only chance of rain looks like right now maybe Saturday night and maybe Sunday night. Right now, it's a beautiful, great getting up morning here in the foothills on this Thursday, the 17th day of June, and we're starting out at 57 degrees. 57 degrees, nice and cool out there. No toasty weather right now. Good morning to Walk the Trail. We welcome you to the morning wake-up call, hour number 2. I have these death announcements. Garland Gilbert, 92 of Rutherfordton, passed away June 14th. A double celebration of life service to commemorate both Garland and his wife Morel will be held Saturday, June 19th at 2 o'clock. Visitation will be 1 hour prior to the service in the Family Life Center of Spencer Baptist Church. Morel passed on May 30th, and Garland passed on June 14th. Funeral service 2 o'clock Saturday at Spencer Baptist Church. Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family. Jennifer Parker, age 47, of Henrietta, passed away Wednesday, June 9th at Adrium Health Cleveland in Shelby. The family will receive friends in celebration of Jennifer's life from 6 until 8 o'clock Friday, June 18th at Harrelson Funeral Home. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with the arrangements for Jennifer Parker. James Willard Leach, age 76, of Mooresboro, passed away Sunday, June 13th at Mission Health Asheville Specialty Hospital. The funeral service will be conducted at 3 o'clock Friday, June 18th at Hicks Grove Baptist Church. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the church. Mr. Leach will lie in state from 8 a.m. until noon on Friday at the funeral home. Harrelson Funeral Home and Cremation Services has been entrusted with the arrangements for James Willard Leach. Jeanette Angeline Melton, 81, of Rutherfordton, died June the 11th while in hospice in Smithville. Funeral services will be held at Adel Baptist Church, Oakland Road, Spindale today, with visitation at the church 1 hour prior to the service. Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Angeline Melton. Larry Pritchard, age 63, of Ellenboro, passed away Sunday, June 13th at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. A private funeral service to honor Larry will be conducted at a later time. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with those arrangements for Larry Pritchard. Joshua Glenn Bivens, age 28, of Rutherfordton, died Friday, June the 11th. Online guest registry available at McMahansFuneralHome.com. For the arrangements, we do not have that listed here. For Joshua Glenn Bivens. Ruth Hooper Arrowood, 91, of Rutherfordton, died Tuesday, June 15th at her home. Those arrangements incomplete and will be announced by Mike Behan's Funeral Home and Cremation Services for Ruth Arrowood. James Blaine Jim Earls, 78, of Ellenboro, died Monday, June 14th at Adrium Health in Cleveland. Funeral service will be conducted at 4 o'clock Friday, June 18th at Oak Grove United Methodist Church. Burial will follow in the church cemetery, and visitation will be from 5 until 7 today at Washburn and Dorsey Funeral Home in Bostic. For James Blaine Jim Earls. Those are the death announcements we have in-house this morning. For complete information on these and others as they become available to us, you can hear them this morning at 11:35 and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon report here on WCAB in Rutherfordton.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo worried about the Big Apple, starting to dawn on the guy that economic pain is coming to Manhattan. I warned these people about this months ago. I warned them about it, folks. Cuomo told reporters that the longer people work from home, the less likely they'll want to work in the city when the shutdown's over. And he's worried that rich taxpayers who left may never return. I told him this was going to happen. Cuomo said that politicians in the old days said people would depart Manhattan if taxes went up or if the quality of life deteriorated. Well, now they're gone, but it's all because of COVID, Cuomo said, not his stupid policies, which is true. He didn't mention the skyrocketing crime rate, though, the rioting, the looting, general mayhem Democrats have unleashed, i.e. his policies. He's right to be afraid, though. In June, tax collections, New York City dropped 46%. State controller says New York hasn't seen this kind of economic decline since the Great Depression. Well, guess what, Governor? You have more to worry about than people working for home or the wealthy leaving. Corporations have figured out that they don't have to be in congested urban areas to do business anymore. They, too, may never come back to the liberal hellhole that you and your fellow Democrats created in New York. So good luck with all of it, Governor. Let us know how you make out. And by the way, folks, I have an idea. Cancel all sports. Cancel the games, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, but let the players kneel. Just have the players kneel, and let's see what kind of audience that gets.
Buck Sexton here. Our new administration is printing and spending money as if there are no consequences. They're ignoring history, friends, and gambling with our future. What can you and I do to protect our savings and retirement from this unfounded spending? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I bought real gold and silver. I'm talking about gold and silver that you can actually hold in your hands or put in your IRA or 401k. I bought my gold from the Oxford Gold Group, and you can too. Just call them at 833-404-GOLD. They'll answer all your questions and send out their free investment guide to you. Protecting your retirement accounts with real gold or holding gold in your hand is easier than you'd think. The Oxford Gold Group will do all the work. Call the Oxford Gold Group at 833-404-GOLD today. Protect what you've earned with real gold and silver from the Oxford Gold Group. Call them today at 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
Buck Sexton and Clay Travis will pick up on the 12:05 noon weekday shows, replacing the Rush Limbaugh show. After starting Monday, the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show will be aired Monday through Friday. During this time period, the Rush Limbaugh Morning Update, Bill O'Reilly will jump in with commentary for just a couple of minutes, starting Monday as well.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. WCAB, Rutherfordton.
What can I possibly do to make this stressful time a little better? Here's one thing I found. It's a small thing, a simple thing, a remarkable thing. Smile. You can share a smile from more than 6 feet apart. You can share it socially with the whole world. In fact, right now, I'm smiling at you. And I hope you're smiling back, because smiling is in you. From PassItOn.com.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Good morning. I'm Pastor Lee Coyle. Welcome to Coffee for the Soul, a brief moment of devotion designed to jumpstart your service to Christ today. Nothing gets my body and spirit started in the morning like a hot cup of coffee and a fresh challenge from God's Word. A student of the Gospels cannot help but notice how Jesus delighted in children. In fact, he, on more than one occasion, used children as an example of how we are to be as followers of Christ. What was it about children he so appreciated? I believe it was their purity of heart. In Matthew 5, verse 8, Jesus gave the sixth beatitude, declaring, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." In those words is another key to life's best. undivided loyalty. Baptist scholar Malcolm Tolbert has written, "The pure in heart are people who serve God with unmixed, unadulterated motives and devotion." And Dr. Charles Swindoll says, "The pure in heart are those who serve God in utter sincerity, no pretense, show, or wavering." Jesus spoke further on this idea later in the sermon when he said, "No one can serve two masters." This key to life's best is about being sold out to Christ, fully committed to Christ and Christ alone. Now, don't get me wrong, we ought to be fully committed to our spouse and our family, but fully committed to them in and through our commitment to Christ. To keep our loyalty undivided requires that we consistently take into our hearts, into our minds, and into our lives the truth and spiritual nourishment of God's Word, fellowship, and presence. Is what you take into your life via your eyes, ears, and mind strengthening purity of heart or weakening it? The world says, don't fully commit, keep your options open. But Jesus says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. They will see, recognize, experience, or acknowledge and embrace God. Now, that's coffee for the soul.
16 minutes now past the hour of 7 o'clock on this tremendous Thursday morning. And let's head to the phones. That's where all the information is this morning. On the phone, first is Sheriff Chris Francis to give us updated on what's been happening around his department. Sheriff, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's a beautiful day out there, and I feel great inside.
Well, man, that's a blessing. That's a good testimony.
Tell us what's been going on.
In the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has responded to 128 calls to service. There have been 12 arrests processed at the county jail. Currently incarcerated, we have 186. Among those arrested, Stephen Allen Lovelace, 37-year-old male of Mooresboro, was charged with failure to appear and received a $1,000 secure bond. John Scott Carver, 67-year-old male of Rutherford, was charged with 4 counts of failure to appear and received a $5,000 secure bond. Allison Dawn Turner, 44-year-old female of Forest City, was charged with failure to appear and received a $25 cash bond. Rachel Leanne Ponder, 24-year-old female of Old Fort, was charged with failure to appear and received a $500 secure bond. Adrian Jackson, 38-year-old male of Charlotte, was charged with failure to appear, failure to comply with child support, received a $300 cash bond. Anna Lopez, 27-year-old male of Charlotte, was charged with failure to appear and received a $500 secure bond. Simone Dante Spearman, 39-year-old male of Taylor, South Carolina, was charged with probation violation and received a $1,000 secure bond. Amy Nicole Hall, 41-year-old female of Ellenboro, was charged with 2 counts of failure to appear and received a $1,000 secure bond. Richard Allen Evans Jr., 42-year-old male of Mooresboro, was charged with possession with intent to manufacture, sell, and deliver Schedule II narcotics, possession of firearm by felon, possession of Schedule VI narcotics, drug paraphernalia, and threatening phone call, and received a $26,000 secure bond. Raquela Janaya Williams, 19-year-old female of Forest City, was charged with injury to property and received a $500 unsecured bond. Jeffrey Sean Marshall, 28-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with 2 counts of obtaining property with false pretense, received a $30,000 unsecured bond. Chelsea Jean Green, 25-year-old female of Spindale, was charged with driving a license revoked and possession of Schedule II, received an $11,000 secure bond. Among our incidents, we had a larceny reported from Bitterroot Circle in Rutherford. Apparently they were moving to Kansas and had a moving company from Florida come up and pick up 26 totes from that address to take to Kansas, and they never did receive those totes of their personal items. We had a damage to property on Chili Bowl Road. Someone had put gas in a diesel engine, causing damage to that engine. We had a larceny on Whispering Oaks Drive in Ellenboro. There was a dog memorial trinket that was taken, as well as a yellow gold ring with a pink tear stone shape that was taken, and the ring was valued at $75, and the trinket was valued at $25, taken from a car. And we had a break and enter in Larchtown, Weatherstrong Drive in Forest City. There was a safe that was taken, as well as a silver punch bowl. And we had a B&E on Spencer Street in Forest City where prescription medications were taken. And, Jim, that's what we have to report today.
All right. Still busy over there. I appreciate the thoroughness of your report, and I hope you have a great day and be safe out there.
Thank you, Jim. Take care.
All right, bye. Sheriff Chris Francis this morning, 20 minutes now past 7. Imagine being surrounded by comfort. At Immaculate Heating and Air Conditioning, they offer ultimate home comfort by Coleman. They will install a Coleman high-efficiency heating and cooling system and handle any service and maintenance, all for one low monthly payment with zero out-of-pocket costs for 10 years. That's right, 10 years with no service or repair fees, no maintenance fees, no unexpected cost at all. Ultimate home comfort. It's more comfort all around. Contact Nathan Blackburn at 828-755-5788. That's 755-5788, or visit ImmaculateHeatingandAir.com. Let's say good morning to Lindsay now from 911 Communications. Get her report. Lindsay, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Tell us what kind of calls you've received in the past 24 hours.
In the past 24 hours, Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications has processed 410 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 57 EMS, 28 rescue under law enforcement, 128 Sheriff's Office, 61 Forest City, 2 Lake Lure, 50 Rutherfordton, and 48 Spindale. And that is all.
Thanks so much. You have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheryl, have you been to the Homeworks Design Center inside Henson Building Materials in Forest City?
Oh, yes. Shana, David, and William are incredible at designing kitchen and bath cabinetry for my new she shed.
Your what?
And they have a full line of windows and doors on display in their 5,000 square foot showroom. And they'll install any ones you pick out for me.
Oh, you're too good to me.
I know. With selling and installing, it's basically one-stop shopping.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
SDO Fire District report coming up next with Ruby Taylor. How you doing, Ruby?
I'm doing okay.
Good. What's on the report over there?
Well, they didn't have any calls. Everything's quiet. And on my birthday counter, I got Kenny Pardon, Connie Wilkins, Donnie Shroop, and Will Randlett having birthdays today. And hope they all have a nice day, and the signs are in the boughs today and going to the rains tomorrow. And that's all I got.
All right, Ruby, thank you. Enjoy your Thursday.
You too. Bye-bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
All right, now it's time to head up toward the Fairfield Mountains Fire District and see what Gary Wilson can tell us about what's been happening up that way. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Jim. How you doing?
Doing great. Loving this beautiful morning. Isn't it great?
We're back to fall year this morning almost, didn't
Sure
we?
feels like it. 57's where we are right now.
We're sitting on about 56 right here right now. Humidity way down. Felt good this morning. Had to pull a sheet up around me for get a little warmth going there this morning. Felt good out there.
Yeah.
We've been quiet overnight up here. No calls or anything for us at Bills Creek, either one that I'm aware of at Bills Creek, and everything sailing along, getting good this month. More people coming in by every weekend, and glad to see that going on again. And 4th of July coming up, so things getting ready to get cranking, I believe. And everything else is moving right along.
All right, Gary. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for being there for us, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. You have a good day, Jim.
Thanks. Bye. Well, you know what we think of sometimes giving gift baskets to moms and daughters and lady folks, but I think Dad would love to have one too if you could fill it with things that Dad appreciates. And you can find that and do that up at the Washburn General Store. Then they do basket gifts, and they'll load it down with some things that Dad would like to have. Just go by, shop around the store there, look, and you'll see, well, Dad would love that. Dad would love that. Oh, I bet Dad doesn't have that. And they'll fill that basket with gifts, and you can give Dad a basket of great gifts from Washburn General Store. And you know what? They've got overalls, too. If Dad loves to wear overalls or works outside the East Fair New ones, then they've got those available, too. And Washburn General Store is a great place to shop for mom, dad, or daughter, or son, or even little children. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to visit. They'll make you feel welcome when you walk in the door. That's Washburn General Store between Bostic and Sunshine on the Bostic Sunshine Highway. Let's check in on Bob Hodge now over at the Hudlow Fire District. Bob, good morning.
Well, good Thursday morning.
Have you had your coffee yet, Bob?
Oh, I'm working on it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm drinking my coffee this morning. And it's a nice morning out here this morning. It's kind of cool this morning, but that sun will heat up after a while. But we got it nice out here to what it is out west, though, ain't it? Over 110 degrees.
I wouldn't want that at all. I wouldn't want that at all.
They can keep it out that way. But I think Sunday's the first day of summer, so
it
summertime's coming up. Yeah. So Father's Days are coming up. Summertime's coming up this weekend, so it looks like weather's going to be about summertime. Look like it's going to be around 90 degrees there Friday or Saturday. So, but Jim up here with the fire department been pretty quiet. We've made one medical call. Hadn't had any fire wreck calls, so everything's going along good up here this morning.
I'm glad to hear that, Bob. I appreciate you keeping your eye on things for us and keeping us posted, and for being with us on the morning report and sometimes on the afternoon report. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you.
And have a great day over there.
You too, Jim.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Bob Hodge, been with us a long time. We appreciate his longevity and his faithful service to the community. 27 past the hour of 7. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Come take advantage of the springtime sales event and get the automobile you've been wanting. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. Now at 28 minutes after 7 here in Rutherford, and 28 minutes after 7 over the Cherry Mountain Fire District 2. Where's Sue Price is. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Jim.
What's going on over there?
Well, right now I got a squirrel attacked in my bird feeder, and I can't get rid of it.
Boy, don't they love that, I tell you.
I know.
You know, I saw something the other day, Sue, at my house. I don't think they've ever done it before. I've never seen them anyway. I got a couple of hummingbird feeders out there with hummingbird nectar, and a squirrel crawled up the pole, hung on that pole, and leaned over and sucked the juice right out of that hummingbird feeder.
They're a tricky thing.
I tell you, I knew they'd love to eat the grain, but I never seen one suck the juice right out of a hummingbird feeder.
I don't think I have either. Richard's got mine fixed for the squirrels can't get it in it now. It's got a metal thing around it.
That's
they
good.
Can't get over it to get to the hummingbird feeder, but they're like a little acrobat. They can do most anything.
They are. It's amazing how acrobatic they are. It drives my dog crazy.
Well, it's quiet over here this morning, Jim. I don't have a thing to report. I don't have any calls from the fire department. I don't have a single birthday or anniversary, and I hadn't got any announcements. It's just a quiet time. We're looking for a good day, though, and I sure do feel sorry for those people out there where it's 100 degrees and more.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible. We all need to be in prayer for that so they could get some rain. That would be hard. But anyway, it's going to be a good day, and I hope you'll have a good one.
Thanks, Sue. Take care of things, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Jerry Mountain, nice and quiet. 7:30. And this weekend is something we're excited about happening, whether you like what's happening. I'm happy that things are opening up, that they can have a festival like this. I'm talking about the Cherry Bounce Festival, downtown Forest City. It's a Father's Day weekend festival everybody can enjoy. The Cherry Bounce Festival is alive and well and scheduled for June 18th and 19th at Forest City Pavilion on Park Square, better known as Pops. Friday gates open at 7 p.m. with live music by Acoustic Syndicate. Saturday 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Bring the family for the all-day festival. Live music by Anya Hinkle and Teleco, Leon Purcell, and Kane Mill Road and Wiregrass. Enjoy the art vendors and food trucks and concessions all day. There'll be a special appearance by Patty and David Walker from the Discovery Channel's Moonshiners. The festival ends with a baseball game at McNair Field, with the Forest City Owls hosting the Martinsville Mustangs at 7:05. It'll be a great time to get out again and enjoy this free event, June 18th and 19th at Pops in downtown Forest City.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Well, last night's Braves scores was almost a duplicate carbon copy of Tuesday night's score. Tuesday night, Red Sox beat Braves 10-8. Last night, Red Sox 10, Braves 8. 2 nights in a row, same score. Now, the Rays will be moving on tonight. They will be going up against St. Louis Cardinals, and that's a 6:05 airtime. We'll join the pregame following News 13 at 6. First pitch is 7:20. You won't miss a thing. So join us for the Braves as they continue clawing their way back up to a winning status. And perhaps with the Cardinals, they will do that. And tomorrow also will be our first night to carry the Forest City Owls road game, and they'll be playing the High Toms, and we'll have that game for you. Hopefully, if all the technical things work out between us and them, wherever they are, we'll have that game for you. So be sure to follow the Owls on the road with us here at WCAB. We're trying to reach the folks over at our good friends at Drop-In Family Mart in Bostic, find out what's going on there with cooking that breakfast. And we're on hold right now, but we'll do this and come back to them.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Well, they're very busy over at the Drop-In Family Mart this morning. They've got customers that are waiting for breakfast because they always do such a great job of fixing breakfast. A lot of bacon, a lot of ham, eggs, fixed any way you want it, biscuits of all kinds of, the fluffy kind of biscuits or those flat ones. Whatever you want, they can serve that for you at Drop-In Family. It's become a stopping place for folks on the way to work. If folks who just want to sort of leisurely have a breakfast, they can go by the family, drop in there, and have that breakfast order. Now, if you want lunch, you can call ahead, and they'll prepare lunch for you. Of course, that chicken, we've talked about chicken, how good that is for a long, long time. It is some of the best around. So if you want breakfast, they can call that in. They'll have it ready for you. Or call your lunch in. They'll have it ready for you. Or be prepared for a lot of other special deals in the fresh meat market there. Yeah, fresh meat market, I said, at the Drop-In Family Mart. They're good friends of the Call Around Report, and they can be your good friend, too. Just depend on them for groceries, meat market, propane, gas, breakfast, lunch, dinner, pickup, snacks, for real milkshakes, and all that's good at Drop-In Family Mart. And we're going to just jump right over them when they were busy this morning, too busy to go to the phone. I don't blame them. They're short-handed, and it's one of those places you can find a job if you're willing to go to work. They're needing help at all the drop-ins. So if you lacked a job working with good people and meeting good people, then apply for a job there at Drop-In. We'll go up to up to Shingle Holler next.
Good morning. The impact COVID-19 has had on our community has caused many changes. And some of these changes is our jobs. If your job situation is changing because of a layoff or restructuring, you may have to make several decisions. One of these decisions is what to do with your retirement plan. Let's make sure that your investment plan stays on track and doesn't derail your retirement ideas. Hi, I'm Andrew Tisdale from Rutherford, your Edward Jones financial advisor, and I would love to help you. Please give us a call at 828-287-9197. Our office is located in the Food Line Plaza in Rutherford. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, and member of the SIPC. Bye.
The Shingle Holler reporter not available for us this morning either. I know it's a beautiful morning. Perhaps she's out walking in the beautiful daybreak. But anyway, we're jumping over Shingle Holler, going straight to Union Mills, North Carolina. We are not stopping at Pass Go. We're not passing go. We're not collecting $200, but we're going to get a report from Brenda Kelly. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning, boy. You're making fast time this morning. You went from Boston to Shingle Holler to Union Mills in record-breaking time.
Moving on this morning, moving on.
I won't be here in the morning because little David broke his leg, and he's got to be at the doctor at 8:30 in the morning, and I got an appointment at 10, so time I get up and get everybody, yeah.
How did
he sure did.
How did he do that?
Cutting a tree.
Really?
Yeah. But that's all right. It'll heal, and this too will pass.
Oh, my goodness.
He may have to have surgery. I'm not sure.
That's too bad.
It's in the knee. Ooh, yeah. But anyway.
Well, we'll miss you tomorrow morning, but we certainly understand you got those kind of medical situations to deal with.
Yeah, sometimes we just can't always be on the phone, can we?
Beyond our control sometimes.
That's right. Well, let's see. I've got 52 degrees on the porch this morning. That's so nice and cool. I thought, my goodness, I could just handle this every day. And birthdays today, I've got Randy Piercy Sr. and his granddaughter Miranda Piercy. So we hope they have a great old big day on their special day. And in ways of announcements, Piedmont Pleasant Hill Community is going to have a hot dog hamburger supper with all the trimmings and dessert and tea. This will be on the 19th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Adults is $8 and children under 6 eat free. Then the Gilkey School Community Center on Saturday the 19th is going to have bingo from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. It's 25 cents a card. And then on June the 26th, they're going to have a community yard sale. You bring your own tables, and this will be outside. For information, you can call 429-9075. And then the Union Mills Community Clubhouse will have a covered dish meal. This is June the 22nd at 12 noon. Then we got a country buffet breakfast Saturday, June the 26th from 7 to 10 a.m. This will be at the White House Community Center at 5408 Painters Gap Road, Union Mills, NC 28167. Adults, $6. Children 6 to 12, $3. Children 5 and under, free. And they got all kind of good food. And all proceeds go for the upkeep of the building. For bookings, you can call Myra Duckett at 828-625-9240. That may be Maria, M-A-R-I-A. And so far, that's all I've got going on. So.
And your trip to the doctor is just routine checkup, is that correct?
It's just to get my vitamin B12 shot.
Okay.
I have to go once a month. I don't know why all of us. Well, it ain't. I've been doing that for over a year now, I guess. And I asked this nurse that's a real good friend of mine. I said, when they first started it, I said, how long will I have to do that, reckon? And she said, The rest of your life.
Oh, boy.
So I'm beginning to, but there's a lot of people you wouldn't believe that have a vitamin B12 shortage and are getting shots.
And that's once a month?
Once a month. I go once a month and get a shot.
Mm.
And then when it's flu season, I get a flu shot. And then when it was COVID, I had, so I was just, I'd say this arm here this time, and the next time this arm, and then this arm the next time.
You've been shot all over the place, haven't you?
I'm telling you, yeah. But that's all right. I'm still above ground and kicking. Ain't kicking too high, but that's all right. I can still get about.
Thing.
And when I was sitting in the emergency room with little man, the day before yesterday, I thought, I'm so blessed. I don't have to walk with a walking stick or walker or in a wheelchair. And when you're in a place like that, you see all kind of situations and people coming in that can't hardly walk, and I just have to stop and say, thank you, Lord, that I can still do all that.
Exactly right. And we don't look around and see all those things sometimes. We like to play the poor old pitiful me syndrome and look how bad I'm having it. But there are a whole lot of people having it a whole lot worse than we are. That's
exactly right. And I thank the Lord all the time that as old as I am, I can still get about, and that's good.
There used to be an old poem, I think it's a poem, but my dad used to remind me about it. Said I used to complain because I had no shoes until I saw a man who had no feet. And all of a sudden, my complaint was not important at all.
That's exactly right. We need to stop every now and then and look around, and we need to do it every day and be thankful for what we've got and what the Lord's blessed us with, because it could always be worse, just like you said.
Yep. Well, I hope your son's...
A man with no feet, yeah.
I hope your son's legs are going to be okay.
Well, I hope it will, too. He's young. He can handle it. So.
You'll put a cast on it?
Well, it's in a splint now from above the knee all the way down to the ankle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they'll do. The papers that they sent home was all about surgery.
Mm.
So I don't know what that means. I didn't go back there with him. I had his other pawpaw to go with him, and he went and got the wheelchair for him and went back there with him. When he got tired of being back there, he come out, and I went back and stayed with him till he went back. And we was down there about 4 hours. That emergency room was running over with people.
Yeah, aren't they always?
Yeah, but I said, well, whatever it be will be. It's just we'll just have to cross this bridge and get it behind us.
Well, that's a great attitude, Brendan. I hope things go well, and we'll talk. I guess I'll talk with you again Monday, and somebody will be available Saturday.
Okay, and you have a good day.
You too, thanks. Bye.
Okay. Catch you later.
Brendan Kelly reporting from Union Mills at 7:42. We're going to Ellenboro next.
Another season has come and gone, and you're still looking at that same sad-looking sofa or recliner. Well, now's the time to change the inside of your home to look as pretty as the spring and summer colors outside. And the perfect place to start is the Recliner Center. Right now at the Recliner Center, everything is 20% off. That's 20% off sofas, recliners, sofa recliners. If someone you love is having trouble standing, the Recliner Center has all lift chairs on sale for 10% off. All lift chairs, 10% off. Now, some of these chairs can take you from a standing position, then safely back down to a sitting position with no effort on your part whatsoever. Angela is cleaning out merchandise to make room for more. So now's your chance to redecorate your home and take advantage of the great savings at the Recliner Center. All lift chairs, 10% off. Everything else is 20% off. Angela is seeing folks by appointment only, so call 828-395-3562. Call her today. The Recliner Center. They're on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
Now here is our reporter from Ellenboro, North Carolina, Luther Gilligan. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. Have a nice day down this morning.
It's a beautiful morning.
It is. Sun's coming up. We're going to have a good time today. But it's quiet. Nothing going on. Everybody's just trying to get on into work. Probably had one medical call about 11 o'clock last night. Other than that, they were quiet all day yesterday and quite rested tonight. And just nothing else happening there. But I want to remind everybody, blood drive Monday from 2:30 to 7, Bethel Church Family Life Center. That's the community blood drive. So everyone's invited out. And Jim, nothing else going on. You have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. tomorrow.
Enjoy the sun and get well soon, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye.
Take care now.
Bye. Luther Gilligan still recuperating there in Ellenboro. Hey, I've told you on several occasions, I have tried one, so I know how good they are. That's the Granny B's Pizza Combo. Now, for many of you, Friday night is pizza movie night. So if that's the case in your house, order one of these Granny B's Pizza Combos for tonight, and you'll enjoy that with no problems. Choose from 13 different combinations. What's your favorite? You can just sort of select the combination you want there and order it. They'll have it ready for you in about 20, 25 minutes. Number to call is 286-9012, 286-9012, and you'll enjoy the Granny B's Pizza Combo. You'll never go back to the others once you've tried Granny B's Combo Pizza. They're located right there on Main Street in Spindale. Well, it's birthday time and anniversary time for the 17th of this month. So if you're one of those lucky folks who are celebrating another birthday, we'd love to celebrate with you. If you're one of those lucky couples that's celebrating another anniversary, we'd love to celebrate with you. So call Todd now at 287-3356, and let's give you a big shout out and celebrate.
WCAB, Rutherfordton. Maybe he was born with his witty humor. Some people bring joy wherever they go, some whenever they go. Or as a frontier newspaper reporter. There's nothing to be learned from the second kick of a mule. Maybe he got his insights from being a riverboat captain. Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. Wherever he went, Mark Twain found humor all around. Humor. Pass it on. From passiton.com.
Birthday. Well, happy birthday wishes to those of us who are celebrating today. That would be Matthew Fenner, Lindsay McCracken, also celebrating anniversary, Rob and Priscilla Marshall, and Alex and Bethany Moore, and Cora Boston, and Daniel, birthday, Randy Pearson, Celia, and Brenda Pearson. So coming up in just a few moments, Keys to Confident Living. 8:30 this morning, we have Gilbert Colmona coming into the studio, talking a little bit about how all these tax things are changing and the recipients of money and all that stuff is going to change. It seems like it changes about every day. And you may have questions about your dependents, children, child supporting things, all those financial questions. Gilbert will be able to talk about it 8:30 this morning. C.J. Cook's also having a birthday today, so happy birthday, C.J.
At the end of World War I, there was a great praise service held in Royal Albert Hall in London. Seated on the platform next to the pastor was George Bernard Shaw, the famous playwright. The great congregation sang Isaac Watts' hymn, "O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home." After the song had concluded, the famous playwright leaned over to the pastor and lamented, "I'd rather have written that hymn than all my silly plays." The true value of something can only be measured when compared to something else. For example, the dullness of the white shirt hanging in your closet can often go undetected until compared with the new white shirt recently purchased. Or the speed with which a computer works is never fully appreciated until it is compared with a model used 5 years ago. Shaw's work, which had been applauded by the critics, seemed significant when compared with the works of other men. But when Shaw compared his work against something that spoke of eternal values, it seemed insignificant, of little worth, trivial. Jesus gave a similar comparison when he said, What does a man gain if he owns the entire world but forfeits his soul in the process? This is Bill Hostler with today's Key to Confident Living. Scripts for these programs are sold in book form by calling toll-free 1-888-333-KEYS.
WCAB, Rutherfordton. Maybe he was born with his witty humor. Some people bring joy wherever they go, some whenever they go. Or as a frontier newspaper reporter. There's nothing to be learned from the second kick of a mule. Maybe he got his insights from being a riverboat captain. Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. Wherever he went, Mark Twain found humor all around. Humor, pass it on, from passiton.com.
Washington. After the summit with Vladimir Putin, President Biden told reporters the last thing he wants now is a Cold War. A recap on the summit from ABC senior White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
Biden says he didn't issue threats, but says he made clear to Putin there will be consequences if he doesn't change his ways.
The bottom line is I told President Putin that we need to have some basic rules of the road that we can all abide by.
And on cybersecurity, after those attacks that crippled a U.S. gas pipeline and targeted the meat industry, Biden says critical infrastructure should be off limits, giving Putin a list of 16 prohibited areas from the energy sector to the water supply. And he's warning Putin the U.S. stands ready to retaliate.
Today, President Biden gets ready to sign a bill, possibly making Juneteenth another federal holiday.
On this vote, the yeas are 415 and the nays are 14. The bill is passed.
Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas, where Juneteenth originally began on June 19, 1865, when former slaves finally were told they were free. People out west still scorching as the heat wave drags on.
40 million Americans are feeling the effect of a dangerous heat wave. On Wednesday, record high temperatures were shattered in California, Arizona, Utah, and Montana, where Billings hit 105 degrees, tying the city's hottest June day ever.
ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi. Texas says it's ready to build its own border wall. Governor Greg Abbott saying it's not a question of politics, it's a question of safety for people living there.
Look at the number of people who were apprehended coming across the border last April when President Trump was president. They apprehended just over 17,000 people coming across the border last year. This year, in the month of April, they apprehended more than 170,000 people.
The state setting aside $250 million for it. You're listening to ABC News.
Ad paid for by CompleteCar.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to the COVID crisis, we are announcing a low-cost extended service plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay nothing for auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay nothing for auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-549-1980 now. Drivers who are covered by this auto protection will not have to pay for a covered repair bill again. This auto coverage is at an all-time low, much lower than what dealerships are charging. Additionally, drivers who activate this auto coverage today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and free rental car at no additional cost. Call for your free quick quote today. 800-549-1985. 800-549-1985. What do you have to lose? Again, 800-549-1985.
A vote is expected today on the House on legislation that would repeal the 2002 authorization for the use of military force in Iraq. This comes a day after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer promised to bring a similar measure to the Senate floor before the end of the year. An arthritis drug may be getting a new job helping fight the coronavirus. Here's Mark Remillard.
In a peer-reviewed study, Pfizer announced data showing Xeljanz, a drug used to treat arthritis and ulcerative colitis, helped lower the risk of dying among a specific group of COVID-19 patients. The drug appeared to help patients who were hospitalized but not yet sick enough to be put on a ventilator. The study conducted in Brazil found patients treated with the drug were less likely to die or experience respiratory failure compared to those who got a placebo and typical medical care. Further study of the drug will occur. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
And 3 Chinese astronauts, now the first people to start a mission aboard China's new space station.
Uniformed military personnel and children waving flowers and flags and singing patriotic songs celebrated 3 military pilots as they headed to their rocket in northwest China. As they began a 3-month mission as the first crew aboard China's new space station named Heavenly Harmony. China says they'll conduct experiments, test equipment, and prepare the station's main living section for expansion before 2 laboratory modules are launched next year. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
This is ABC News.
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get up to a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries. With the power and capacity your vehicle demands, Superstart batteries are designed for lasting performance and consistent starts. Turn the key with confidence with Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Jesse James Railroad Express is becoming the Rutherford County hotspot with new lunch menu,
quarter pounder Angus beef burger topped with bacon, cheddar cheese, bang bang sauce, and onion rings, or the new 5-3-1 burger, half-pound charbroiled Angus burger with special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a toasted bun. It's everything that Big Mac wishes it could be. On top of that, milkshakes, hand-dipped ice cream also available. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 until 4. Closed Wednesday and Sunday. Call them at 828-447-4644. 99-cent hot dogs with mustard, chili, and onions, Mondays only. That's 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton. All aboard.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. We're waking up to a mostly clear to partly cloudy sky. It's a little bit cooler and less humid again this morning, and we'll see a lovely afternoon. Mostly sunny sky today with another cool and less humid day ahead. Our highs today in the low to mid 80s. We're back in the mid to upper 50s and low 60s Friday morning. Plenty of sunshine Friday afternoon, though it will be a hotter day. Highs Friday in the upper 80s and low 90s. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Zach, you're looking good. Look like you're dressed for the weather today. Sunglasses in place. Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful day. Right here, we are at 62 degrees here in Rutherfordton. 57 where we started this morning. We're climbing up pretty fast, up to about 85. And sunny skies today and just a light wind. Now, it looks like the first chance of rain, at least right now, is overnight, Saturday night, looks like about a slight chance of an isolated thunderstorm, lows around 68. Then Sunday, a slight chance of scattered showers again. So weekend is a little iffy right now, but the rest of the week is mighty fine. 62 degrees currently. We're scheduled to have Gilbert Carmona on this morning at 8:30 to talk about the new tax changes and new things that are happening with your finances and your child support payments and all those. Not child support, but what do you call it? Those changes so fast you can't keep up with. But Gilbert will be here to talk about all those, and we'll see what happens when that takes place. Right now, though, we've got some news from here and there, and we'll get to it right after this.
Smith's Drugs of Forest City will once again sponsor the Meet Me at the Fountain 5K race on July the 24th. And this year's race will be a live event, pending no changes in the current downward trend of the new COVID cases. Go to www.facebook.com/meetmeatthefountain5k for more information and to get sponsorship forms. All forms must be returned by July the 5th. Beneficiaries this year are the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Yoke Fellow, and the Chase Corner Ministries. And now the soda fountain is now fully open, and Smith's Drugs is no longer offering curbside for the fountain. However, the back door is still locked as Smith's Drugs continues curbside service for the pharmacy only. The COVID-19 vaccination is available Monday through Friday only, and walk-ins are welcome. Again, the soda fountain now open at Smith's Drugs. And don't forget the upcoming 5K race. So get your sponsorship forms at Smith's Drugs in Forest City.
Go check that out. It's good to be back open again. Speaking of open, the Cherry Bounce Festival returns to Forest City this weekend, June 18th and 19th. This is the second year of the festival, named after local moonshine Amos Owens' famous corn-based whiskey drink, Cherry Bounce. The festival takes place at Forest City's Pavilion of Park Square. Pops is called, located at 153 Park Square. According to organizers, the Cherry Bounce Festival pays homage to Rutherford County's Amos Owens and his famous Cherry Bounce, as well as North Carolina bluegrass, Americana music, and regional artists. The festival is also part of the Come Here North Carolina campaign featuring North Carolina musicians. Owens, an energetic Irishman who is known throughout the Southeast as the Cherry Bounce King, his Cherry Bounce Moonshine was a combination of corn-based whiskey, honey, and local cherries from nearby Cherry Mountain. He began to acquire land in and around Cherry Mountain in the mid-1840s. His career as a distiller started well before the Civil War in the era of tax-free spirits. After serving 2 periods of enlistment during the war, he returned home to Cherry Mountain to once again begin distilling. However, during the war, a heavy tax had been imposed on spirits. Owens was opposed to taxes on alcohol and believed that after serving in the Confederate Army, he owed nothing to the government. Often arrested for his activities involving the production and distribution of his Cherry Bounce, Owens frequently had to pay fines and spend time in jail and in prison for it. Every June, Owens hosted lively gatherings at his home. The castle, which he boasted was 1 story high and 3 stories long atop Cherry Mountain to celebrate the harvest of the cherries. Owens died September 18, 1906, and is buried at Walls Baptist Church Cemetery in the nearby town of Bostic. Today, his story lives on in his descendants, Josh Owens, star of Discovery Channel's docudrama Moonshiners. The festival kicks off Friday with a free concert by rock folk bluegrass band Acoustic Syndicate, hailing from nearby Cleveland County. Acoustic Syndicate has toured nationally in the U.S., including appearances at Farm Aid and the Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival. Their unique blend of bluegrass instruments, rock sensibilities, and conscious songwriting has inspired a generation of musicians. Gates open at 6 o'clock, and the concert begins at 7 p.m., and concessions will be available. Then on Saturday, the festival begins at 10 a.m. and runs until 7 p.m. Live music begins at 1 with Anya Hinkle and Teleco, winner of the 2019 Merrill Fest Chris Austin Songwriting Competition. Anya explores the beauty of songcraft through the lens of Appalachian string band tradition. Then at 3 o'clock, Liam Purcell and Cane Mill Road take the stage. Named Momentum Band of the Year by IBMA, this group of young musicians has played for fans at Merrill Fest, Floyd Fest, and Wide Open Bluegrass. Local bluegrass favorite Wiregrass comes on stage at 5 o'clock. Wiregrass is a favorite in the Rutherford County area with their blend of bluegrass, country, American music. And Moonshiners Patty Bryan and her father David Parker will be at the festival on Saturday, meeting fans and signing autographs. Fan favorites of the Discovery Channel's docudrama Moonshiners, Patty and her father now run Sugarland's Distilling Company. The festival concludes at McNair Field as the Forest City Owls take on the Martinsville Mustangs on Saturday night, first pitch 7:05. Concessions at the festival will feature the following businesses: Explore Forest City, LK Legendary Soul Food, T's Tiny Farm, Cattle King, and Anna's Sweet Treats. Main Street restaurants and businesses will also be part of the festival. Restaurants will be serving cherry-inspired drinks and dishes, and many businesses will be holding special sales and discount. Amy Bridges, who was on this program yesterday morning, was it yesterday morning? Yesterday morning. I lose track of days. She's the Downtown Community Development Manager. She's hoping the Cherry Bounce Festival will be well attended, especially after last year's COVID-19 shutdown. Bridges said, "We had our first Cherry Bounce Festival in 2019. It was a big success, but because of the pandemic, we could not hold the event last year. This year, we hope to build on the momentum from our first festival." The inaugural Cherry Bounce Festival was recognized by the North Carolina Main Street program as Best Downtown Special Event. This week's Cherry Bounce Festival should be a lot of fun, Bridges added. Hope a lot of people will come to Forest City for this event. And we appreciate the story from the Daily Courier on that. Scott Carpenter reported that story on the Cherry Bounce Festival. We have a lot to offer here in Rutherford County. We hope, indeed, you are taking it on yourself to be proud of Rutherford County and help us keep it beautiful. Keep Rutherford County Beautiful Earth Month and litter sweep numbers spell success in community awareness and involvement in 2021. We talked about that a few weeks ago about Litter Cleanup Day. Well, Keep Rutherford County Beautiful Committee Chairman Don Kaysen said, as a unified community, Rutherford County citizens stepped up big this spring, showing their love of where we live by taking action and spreading awareness of how to take care of our environment. Listen to this. Over 8 tons, 16,000 plus pounds of debris were collected in Rutherford County during the group's annual spring litter sweep over April and May. This total includes 77 miles of paid pickups funded by Keep Rutherford County Beautiful, with a total of 307 bags removed from roadsides. With 35 individuals set up as team leaders, they are responsible for organizing 215 community volunteers and collecting 370 bags of trash from public spaces. Over 8 tons, 16,000 plus pounds of debris collected in Rutherford County. I hope none of that was trash that you threw out. Meanwhile, another stuff from also a story from the Daily Courier. Daily Courier is also reporting that authorities are investigating the death of a Blacksburg man whose body was discovered Tuesday near a billboard along Interstate 85. Dennis Fowler, a Cherokee County coroner, said the body, identified as that of Christopher Kent Stacker, 40 of White Farm Road, was discovered about 1 p.m. by the owner of a billboard company who had come to the location to inspect a sign. The body appears to have been there for 24 hours or less. Family members reported having last seen Stacker late Sunday night. Dennis Fowler said, I've scheduled an autopsy to assist in the investigation. The death does not appear to be natural. The owner of the billboard was reportedly inspecting the signage when he spotted the body down a ravine. The property is adjacent to I-85 with the sign road running parallel to the interstate. You probably have passed it many times. Meanwhile, the Tryon Daily Bulletin is reporting that Polk County senior Quentin Weber, 18-year-old of Green Creek, died on the night he was supposed to graduate high school. Weber was in a car crash on Monday night along US 74 that eventually took his life. Polk County graduation was held on Friday night, where the school awarded him his diploma in absentia. Weber died at Spartanburg Regional Medical Center at 10:22 p.m. Friday night. Polk County School and members of the class mourn his loss and regret, and he lost his life on such a momentous moment. No services have yet been announced for Weber, but an announcement has been made at Petty Funeral Home in Landrum. 16 minutes after 8 o'clock, the Sheriff's Report with Sheriff Francis coming up here in just a moment. North Carolina has collected more than $6 billion, that's with a B, $6 billion in state taxes than was originally forecast in May 2020 by state economists. Let me say that again. North Carolina has collected more than $6 billion in state taxes more than was forecast in 2020 by state economists. That's the finding of a report presented to members of the Joint Full Chairs Appropriations Finance Committee by the Nonpartisan Fiscal Research Division at the General Assembly in the Office of State Budget and Management. For the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021, North Carolina has collected $7.3 billion more than the state has budgeted to spend, with revenue collections totaling 29.5%. So maybe it's time for a tax break, right? Yep, maybe. Governor Cooper called for an approximate increase of 12% in state spending over the next 2 years in budget priorities. He has vetoed every state budget presented by the legislature during his tenure as governor and recently announced hundreds of millions of dollars in tax reduction incentives for large corporations like Apple. Yeah, give them all the breaks and forget about the small businessman out here. Give the big corporations out like Apple and some of these organizations like that, Governor Cooper, and just don't even think about the struggling small businesses that make up the revenue of North Carolina. Don't even think about them, Governor. Just pat the backs of those folks that's on your side. We'll see what happens. We'll be talking with our legislators about that, and maybe they can give taxpayers a break. Would that be nice? 18 past 8 o'clock, Sheriff's Report coming up here in just a moment.
There are so many insurance agencies here and there, but to find a dependable agency that you can trust, that would be Maxwell B. Hamrick Insurance Agency. They are your full-service agency offering auto, business, homeowners, health, and life. Maxwell B. Hamrick is an independent insurance agent. Call them today at 286-2384. They care about their customers, and it shows. They're located at 119 Huntley Street in Spindale. Maxwell B. Hamrick Insurance Agency, serving one satisfied customer at a time.
Compassion, commitment, and professionalism. These are the qualities family members need at a time of sorrow. That's why families in Rutherford County turn to Harrelson Funeral Home. The professional staff at Harrelson Funeral Home in Forest City understands your sadness, your loneliness, and your need for guidance. You'll know when you turn to Harrelson Funeral Home that your deepest concerns will be felt. You need someone to listen and guide you through the process of planning a funeral. That's why you need Harrelson Funeral Home. To make it easier on you at that difficult time, plan early for services you'll want for your loved ones. Call Harrelson Funeral Home today. That phone number is 657-6383. See why Harrelson Funeral Home is the choice for you. 1251 Highway 221A, Forest City. Here's one of those questions as to why did they do it, knowing how he stands on issues, but he was approved anyway. The HHS Secretary Xavier Becerra, he tried to explain Wednesday why the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's fiscal year 2022 budget request it refers to mothers as birthing people instead of simply mothers. On page 12 of the CDC's fiscal year 2022 congressional justification under the heading Maternal Mortality, it states, quote, to help eliminate race-based disparities in outcomes among birthing people and drive down the rate of maternal mortality, the CDC's fiscal year 2022 request includes an increase of $26 million over the fiscal year 2021 enacted for Maternal Mortality Review Committee. On the page 18 of the Biden budget request, it states, during a House Education and Labor Committee hearing examining the policies and priorities of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Representative Tim Walberg, Republican from Michigan, asked Becerra, quote, I want to follow up on a question that I know you've received in previous hearings, but now that you've had time to talk with your team, perhaps you have had time to learn more about the rationale. In reference to efforts to reduce maternal mortality in the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's budget justification, the budget uses the term on page 14 of that document, uses the term birthing people, end quote. Secretary Becerra, is there a reason the agency is using the term birthing people, and that's the only spot I've seen in the budget? The term is used, birthing people, rather than mother in his context. Is there a reason for that? The question was asked to him. Well, he's sort of hem-hauled around. So that's the way they want to look at it, and take away the title of mothers and make it birthing people, because they see in their mind that men who pretend to be women can also have babies. Well, they're either dumb and stupid or didn't wake up early enough to understand biologically, biblically speaking, men don't have babies. I mean, it's even well, I don't have time to elaborate on that this morning. But anyway, that's who they put in the House, in that seat up there, and they knew his position on that, and he's trying his best to appease the left, and he's doing a pretty good job of it, because the House and Senate approved that they're just questioning. He's admitting that, well, we don't need to say mothers anymore. We need to say birthing people. But you'll hear more about that from me, I feel sure. 22 past 8 right now. Sheriff Francis was on with us earlier with a report, and here it is.
In the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has responded to 128 calls for service. There have been 12 arrests processed at the county jail. Currently incarcerated, we have 186. Among those arrested, Stephen Allen Lovelace, 37-year-old male of Mooresboro, was charged with failure to appear and received a $1,000 secure bond. John Scott Carver, 67-year-old male of Rutherford, was charged with 4 counts of failure to appear and received a $5,000 secure bond. Allison Dawn Turner, 44-year-old female of Forest City, was charged with failure to appear and received a $25 cash bond. Rachel Leanne Ponder, 24-year-old female of Old Fort, was charged with failure to appear and received a $500 secure bond. Adrian Jackson, 38-year-old male of Charlotte, was charged with failure to appear, failure to comply with child support, received a $300 cash bond. Anna Lopez, 27-year-old male of Charlotte, was charged with failure to appear and received a $500 secure bond. Simone Dante Spearman, 39-year-old male of Taylor, South Carolina, was charged with probation violation and received a $1,000 secure bond. Amy Nicole Hall, 41-year-old female of Ellenboro, was charged with 2 counts of failure to appear and received a $1,000 secure bond. Richard Allen Evans Jr., 42-year-old male of Mooresboro, was charged with possession with intent to manufacture, sell, and deliver Schedule II narcotics, possession of firearm by felon, possession of Schedule VI narcotics, drug paraphernalia, and threatening phone call, and received a $26,000 secure bond. Raquela Janaya Williams, 19-year-old female of Forest City, was charged with injury to property and received a $500 unsecured bond. Jeffrey Sean Marshall, 28-year-old male of Ellenboro, was charged with 2 counts of obtained property with false pretense, received a $30,000 unsecured bond. Chelsea Jean Green, 25-year-old female of Spindale, was charged with driving a license revoked and possession of Schedule II, received $11,000 secure bond. Among our incidents, we had a Larson reported from Bitterroot Circle in Rutherford. Apparently they were moving to Kansas and had a moving company from Florida come up and pick up 26 totes from that address to take to Kansas, and they never did receive those totes of their personal items. We had a damage to property on Chili Bowl Road. Someone had put gas in a diesel engine, causing damage to that engine. We had a larceny on Whispering Oaks Drive in Ellenborough. There was a dog memorial trinket that was taken, as well as a yellow gold ring with a pink tear stone shape that was taken, and the ring was valued at $75, and the trinket was valued at $25, taken from a car. And we had a break-in in larceny on Weatherstone Drive in Forest City. There was a safe that was taken, as well as a silver punch bowl. And we had a B&E on Spencer Street in Forest City where prescription medications were taken. And, Jim, that's what we have to report today.
It doesn't matter to me what goes on. It makes no difference to me. I'm out there trying to play my own game. What happens inside the ropes, it won't bother me.
And DeChambeau lobbed back playfully about their feud.
We're competitors competing individually on an individual basis out here, and I think we banter back and forth and we have good fun.
The feud began in May at the PGA Championship. In the middle of an interview, Koepka lost his train of thought as DeChambeau walked behind him shouting an expletive. In all, Koepka says he thinks their rivalry is good for the sport.
I mean, it's pretty much been on every news channel. To me, that's growing the game. You're putting it in front of people who probably normally don't look at golf, so I don't know how it's not growing the game.
This is NCN Sports.
If you work in public safety and have your BLET certification, have you thought about living and working at the beach? The Town of Ocean Isle Beach Police Department has full-time police officer openings now. Enjoy a premium benefits package and a $2,500 signing bonus. Experience a family atmosphere and supportive community as you protect and serve on the pristine shoreline of Ocean Isle Beach. Learn more at oibgov.com. Click on Apply Now button on the homepage. That's oibgov.com, an equal opportunity employer.
This is for those who always show they care, who told their kids everyone 12 and older is eligible for a COVID vaccine. Those who explain to their cousins that vaccines prevent nearly 100% of hospitalizations and deaths from COVID-19. This is for the ones protecting those they love. Thank you.
We can do this. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The NFL is loosening many COVID restrictions for players who are vaccinated.
A memo sent to teams says for players who get their shots, it's almost back to business as usual. For the unvaccinated, players must be tested daily, wear a mask, and practice social distancing. They also won't be allowed to eat meals with teammates and cannot leave the team hotel or interact with people outside the team while traveling. I'm Ed Donahue.
A major tennis tournament is getting back to normal as the world emerges from the COVID restrictions.
Last year's U.S. Open was played before an empty stadium, but this year's Open will be served up before a full crowd at Flushing Meadows in New York. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Rafael Nadal announced he won't play at Wimbledon or the Tokyo Olympics. The Spaniard says his body needs to recover from the always demanding clay court season. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. We're waking up to a mostly clear to partly cloudy sky. It's a little bit cooler and less humid again this morning, and we'll see a lovely afternoon. Mostly sunny sky today with another cool and less humid day ahead. Our highs today in the low to mid 80s. We're back in the mid to upper 50s and low 60s Friday morning. Plenty of sunshine Friday afternoon, though it will be a hotter day. Highs Friday in the upper 80s and low 90s. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Warming up pretty fast. We're up to 64 now. Started out at 57. Yesterday morning we started out, a couple of days ago, we started out in the 70s, but we haven't got there yet. But our daytime high expected to be around 85. 85 today under sunny skies. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood. And we hope you can get out and enjoy as much of it as possible. Those of you walking on the trail, please do that. And say hello to our visiting folks who are coming in here from all over the country to be a part of our rails trails. Many of them are bringing bicycles, so watch out for that as well. And those of you on bicycles, please observe the signs and don't run out in front of a car. cars do get right away, Where we'll have Gilbert Carmona in here in just a few moments, talk about some of the new tax changes that are taking place almost every day. There's a story out of World Net Daily where households can earn $25 an hour for not working. Many of the frustrated employers across the country, as you may know, those of you who own your business and can't find help, businesses are shorthanded because of the federal government's continuing payments to people who lost their jobs during the COVID pandemic, but will not be surprised by a new study. This study, published by the Fiscally Conservative Committee to Unleash Property, found that unemployed households can earn a total of $25 per hour on welfare in 21 states. That doesn't speak well of our country, does it? The Foundation for Economic Freedom, which spotlighted the study, said it sheds light on the causes of our current economic purgatory. There are 9.3 million unfilled jobs openings at the moment, while millions of Americans remain on unemployment benefits, and millions more opt out of the labor force entirely. 9.3 million unfilled jobs opening at the moment. In March 2020, the federal government passed a temporary $600 per week supplement on top of existing state-level unemployment payouts. The supplement was reduced to $300 per week in President Biden's COVID-19 legislation, but significantly, it was extended through September 2021. That's why jobs out there are so plentiful right now, because people are getting paid more for staying at home. It's 8:31, and with me in the studio right now is the star of the radio talk show, Gilbert Talks Taxes, Gilbert Carmona. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jim. Thank you for having me. And why do I talk about taxes? Because as we all know, taxation with representation has not been such a good idea, and boy, it has not been a good idea. Thank you for having me on. I wanted to come on specifically because there's a lot happening that's going to affect people. It's not tax season. We're going to go into the next cycle for people that extended here in a couple of months, but there's a lot happening right now. And two things that I'm seeing that's causing confusion and just not a lot of good information. So I'm hoping to give some good information. How's that?
Great, that sounds great. I'm glad you're doing a lot of uncertainty about what's happening right now. It seems like every day we wake up, there's another change.
Well, right in the middle of tax season, March 11th. We had major sweeping legislation. That standalone legislation, if that would have happened in the normal cycle, that would have been ground changing or game changing, as we say. And here they did it in the middle of tax season. So the first thing that I want to get into, and as I was pulling my notes together, it felt like I was going to get into and I told you so, because I told you so on this one. The IRS is going to start recalculating unemployment benefits, the deduction on unemployment benefits. Okay, so let me give you the background on that. In 2020, a lot of people collected unemployment, and you just talked about that as I was walking in. And that is probably the biggest reason that we have this labor problem we're having right now. I mean, jobs that just a few years ago were paying $9, $10, $11 an hour are today paying $20 an hour, $21, $22. I drove by several places and saw warehouse jobs, $16 to $19 an hour. Chick-fil-A has a sign-on bonus, not to give a plug to anybody, but I drove by and there was a big sign, a sign-on bonus. Other fast food restaurants, a sign-on bonus to come and work there. These are entry-level jobs, and because of this unemployment. So we had this unemployment benefits. People collected a lot of money in unemployment. Unemployment is taxable. But the IRS decided March 11th that they were going to exempt $10,200 per person of unemployment. Okay? So the only problem was that by the time that law got passed through on March 11th, and I have here, this is IRS statistics I'm looking at. So it got passed March 11th. And actually, here, let me read the IRS's quote. legislation signed March 11th allows taxpayers who earn less than $150,000 in modified adjusted gross income to exclude unemployment compensation up to $20,400 if married filing jointly, and $10,200 for all other eligible taxpayers. Right there was a lot of confusion. It wasn't $20,400 per couple. It was $10,200 per person. If you're married filing joint, it's two people, $20,400. So a lot of people filed tax returns incorrectly even after this got passed. The legislation excludes only 2020 unemployment benefits from taxes. And again, I'm reading, this is the IRS's own press release of March 31st. Because the change occurred after some people filed their taxes, okay, let me stop there. Some people, as of March 11th, 66,065,000 people had filed their tax returns. Okay, that was 44% of the total volume that's been filed so far. The total volume of tax returns filed today was 150 million, is 150 million. This statistics through yesterday, 150,938,000. And I think I did about 140 million of those, Jim. That's what it feels like at the end of tax season. So some people filed their taxes. No, 66 million people filed their tax returns. And of that 66 million, it's estimated anywhere from 20 to 30% had, and this is an estimate, had unemployment benefits. So they've already filed their tax return. Now we're excluding this amount of money so they get a refund. But what happens is it doesn't just give them a refund on the income side of it. It also affects child tax credit, advanced child tax credit, earned income tax credit, education credits. All kinds of credits are affected by this. So the IRS said that for those taxpayers who have already filed and figured their tax, there's 66 million of them, and figured their tax on the full amount of unemployment, the IRS will determine correct taxable amounts of unemployment compensation and tax. Any resulting overpayment of tax will either be refunded or applied to other outstanding taxes owed. Okay, so what the IRS asked is people not to file amended returns. Normally when there's a mistake on a tax return or something happens, you get a corrected form. Normal procedure is you file an amended tax return. It's called a 1040X. Okay, and there are many reasons why you file a 1040X. It's not always to get a refund or because you owe money. Sometimes it's just to correct a data entry. So there's a lot of reasons why you would file an amended return. Amended returns typically take 16 weeks to process because they actually have to be individually looked at. Pretty much everything they're doing when you e-file it's electronic. I say no human eyes have seen it. It goes from computer to computer, and as long as all the parameters are there and it fits the algorithm, they spit out a refund or they spit out a bill, one or the other. And pretty much there are a lot of bills and notices you get from the IRS, and people will send them to me, email them, drop them by the office, and say, this doesn't make any sense. It's because a computer generated that. No human sat down and wrote you that letter. Okay? So, and that explains why you get a lot of this redundancy and just a lot of issues. So the IRS said, please do not file an amended tax return. We're going to go ahead and fix it. And that's the I told you so part, because I said at the beginning of this year, the IRS is not set up to do this. They're not set up to figure out all these tax credits. If they could, they would need us. They wouldn't need there wouldn't be tax preparers. There wouldn't be this whole, we're a big industry. Why? Because it takes skill to do this, to do a tax return properly. And anybody that's tried to do their own tax return and it's complicated knows what I'm talking about. There's a lot of moving parts. So they said, we're going to take care of it. Please do not file an amended return. And then in the same paragraph, they said, however, if this is going to affect your earned income tax credit or some other credits, you may need to file an amended tax return. You may want to check with a tax professional. Okay, so they're telling you don't do it, but then they're telling you to do it. The advice that we gave everybody was let them do their thing. Let them send you that refund. Then, and this is to my clients, of course, how other people are going to handle this, I don't know. But what we told all of our clients is let the IRS send you that letter or send you that check. We can get a letter, send you that refund, and then bring me the letter, let me know how much your refund was, and I'm going to calculate your tax return. and I'm going to see if you have any more money coming. That's the only way to really make sure there's no mistakes. Now, they said they were going to do this by May 1st. And I told everybody they're not going to do anything by May 1st. We're in the middle of tax season till May 17th. I said, this is a major reprogramming of their platform. It's not. Well, as of today, it hasn't happened yet. But they're telling us it's going to happen by July 1st. Okay, so they're telling us. So a lot of people are, well, what do we do? Should we file an amended return? No, they're saying, please wait. Don't file an amended return. Wait. Now, and if that wasn't confusing enough for everybody, so again, this only affects people that had unemployment benefits, which were at the time taxable before they excluded the $10,200 or the $20,400. You filed your tax return that before March 11th. Then after they made it tax-free, that money tax-free, now you're going to get a refund because you overpaid. Okay, that's only for that group of people. So, which is a pretty big group of people. We're estimating it was about 30% of our volume before March 11th. Now, to further confuse everybody, we also have to file a state tax return, Jim, as I'm sure you know that. The state tax return. North Carolina, as of this morning, when I was online looking this up, actually they haven't changed their position since March 23rd, but North Carolina is saying, no, we are taxing that. We are not exempting that money. 27 states are not exempting it. And I said they weren't going to because it's a big chunk of change for them. And they already have this in their budget. This isn't like, oh, okay, let's just forgive this. Nobody's giving them that money. It's not like the federal government saying, okay, you guys forgive this and we'll reimburse you, like unemployment. And that's part of the problem with this unemployment is it was the federal government stepped in and funded this thing. The states would never have done that. They don't have that kind of money. Now the federal government has stepped in with, what was it, $600 a week additional? That was more. People were getting from the state $200 or $300. The federal government came in and threw $600 on top of it. Why go to work? You're netting $900, $10,200 of it's tax-free to sit at home and do nothing. And then what about people that are doing other jobs, that are working, that went out and worked anyway, and took on other jobs, non-reportable jobs? They're working cash, or they're doing whatever, because nobody's going to be reporting it. Self-employment income, Uber driving, delivering pizzas, this kind of thing, because there's no way they're going to know until tax time when this gets filed. So it's the whole thing's a confusing mess. But North Carolina is still taxing it. So right now it's only the federal government that's giving you that. Okay, that's number one. And Jim, you just jump in here and tell me when we got to take a break or when we got to do something.
Well, let's take a break right now, right quick.
Let's do that.
Change your thoughts, and we'll be back with Gilbert Carmona in just a moment.
Rutherford County has a new restaurant that's getting rave reviews. The Carolina Farmhouse Restaurant beside the Tri-City Mall in Forest City. They have some of the best home-cooked meals with all your favorite sides. They have daily meats and vegetables along with burgers, sandwiches, and salads. And don't forget those hot, fresh, plump, buttered dinner rolls. Great dining atmosphere, friendly staff, and quick service. They're open Monday through Fridays from 4 until 9. Call them at 245-7633. That's the Carolina Farmhouse on the 74 bypass in Forest City.
I'm happy to share good news with you. If you have a septic tank on your property, you'll be glad to know there is a new professional pumper in town, Mid-South Pumping, owned and operated by one of our own, John Torvinen. Mid-South Pumping serves local communities such as Rutherford, Polk, Cleveland, McDowell, and Lake Lure, offering a wide variety of services at affordable prices. Get it done before summer gets here and really gets bad, if you know what I mean. Mid-South Pumping offers around-the-clock services to ensure your business doesn't become everyone else's. Count on Mid-South Pumping for pumping septic tanks, locating services, uncovering septic tank lids, and more. Make that call to Mid-South Pumping in Rutherfordton at 828-755-6280.
Jim, have you seen Henson Building Materials' newly remodeled showroom? It's gorgeous.
You mean where they have a full line of hardware and building materials for homeowners and home builders?
I mean where Jamie, Terry, and Tony, their friendly staff, treat me like family. Oh, they're so nice.
Hey, are they taking COVID precautions and have curbside service?
Of course. They're so thoughtful.
I do need some materials, but I don't think they'll fit in our car.
Oh, silly. They have professional delivery so we can get whatever I want.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street in Forest City.
Building starts here.
It's a Father's Day weekend festival everybody can enjoy. The Cherry Bounce Festival is alive and well and scheduled for June 18th and 19th at Forest City Pavilion on Park Square, better known as Pops. Friday gates open at 7 p.m. with live music by Acoustic Syndicate. Saturday 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Bring the family for the all-day festival. Live music by Anya Hinkle and Teleco, Leon Purcell, and Kane Mill Road and Wiregrass. Enjoy the art vendors and food trucks and concessions all day. There will be a special appearance by Patty and David Walker from the Discovery Channel's Moonshiners. The festival ends with a baseball game at McNair Field, with the Forest City Owls hosting the Martinsville Mustangs at 7:05. It'll be a great time to get out again and enjoy this free event, June 18th and 19th at Pops in downtown Forest City. It's 8:45 on this Thursday morning. We're happy you've joined us. With me in the studio right now is the star of the talk show, Gilbert Talks Taxes. On Saturday mornings. He's taking a breather, but he's this morning to explain some things that's confusing to a lot of taxpayers, and he's with me to continue that conversation. Gilbert, go for it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on here. Okay, so I just talked about unemployment benefits. I tried to explain that. What I told you was North Carolina still is taxing it. IRS is going to start sending out refund checks for people that filed their tax return, went ahead and put that as income. The IRS is going to start sending you those refund checks. Okay, so to pick up now the next thing, people are getting letters about the advanced child tax credit payment. Okay, so, and what's confusing about it is that you have the option of opting in. Well, no, I'm sorry, you're opted in. You're going to get this, but you have the option of opting out and not getting this advance. And people are saying, well, why wouldn't I want the advance? Oh, there's a lot of reasons why you would want the advance. And actually, there are a lot of people, a lot of our clients that have been reaching out to me about this, and I've advised them to opt out. Mostly it's self-employed people who use those credits to pay their taxes. Because it's part of a financial plan. So we know you're going to get that. Okay, so let me get into it. So then important change. Well, let me start with this. So people that are non-filers, this was something that I think really surprised the IRS, and the stimulus payments, the EIP, the economic impact payments, really showed them how many of these people are out there. Because, Jim, I've talked about this for years. There is a disconnect between the United States and Washington, D.C. And I say it that way because they are like another country. They really are. They're an island. They're actually a district. They're not a state. They're their own thing. It's supposed to be the seat of our government. And I talk to these people. I talk to IRS agents. I talk to North Carolina agents. I talk to people. Sometimes I talk to high-level auditors. And I'm shocked at the disconnect. They have no clue what our daily reality is, what we live, what we go through as small business owners, you know, what we live. They think everybody's like them in Washington, D.C., making six-digit salaries, you know, paying obscene mortgages and rents and job security. And when you tell them, you know, I'm running a small business and there are weeks I don't get paid because I got to make sure that all the people that work for me get paid, and there's bills and money didn't come in, and people, when you tell them that, they look at you with this blank stare. Like they don't believe what you're saying. I used to go to the IRS conferences, and they'd have these people, and we would dialogue about the things we're seeing, and they're just clueless. They're like, why would people do that? Well, because we don't want to work for a corporation. We don't want to work for the government. We want liberty. We want to have our own businesses, raise our own families. Again, there's this disconnect. And the reason I shared all that with you is because when they pass these laws, they make a lot of assumptions, and then when their assumptions are proven wrong, like with EIP, were millions, tens of millions of people that don't file tax returns. They don't have taxable income. but they have children. They have how they do it. How do any of us do it? We just do. So a lot of people, so they created this tool for you to be able to file a tax return even though you had no income. They literally had to create this. It didn't exist. You couldn't just send off a tax return. Nor if you did that before, they would just throw, why are you even doing this? They would throw it out. It would go, and they actually have a whole section for that. So now they created a tool, the Child Tax Credit Non-Filer Sign-Up Tool. So what they're doing is they're going to give 50% of, and let me start with that nutshell of that, what that's all about. They raised the child tax credit, so it's up to $3,600 per child. Okay, up to $3,600 within limits. Okay, but $3,600 per child. What they're going to do is, and this is going to happen July 15th. This is moving quick. They're going to give you up to half of it, and they're going to issue 6 monthly payments from July to December, and they're going to give you half of it. So you're going to get up to $1,800 per child, or approximately $300 a month in an advance credit. But it is an advance, and that's the point. If I say nothing in this time, I want people to understand this is an advance. So we're normally, you've got little Jimmy and Susie, you're going to get $3,600 for each child, up to, because it is, the more money you make, the less you get, up to $3,600. So if they give you $1,800 next year when you do your tax return, you're going to have to put on there how much you got in advance. You're going to put it on the tax return. I've already seen kind of a prototype of it. There's going to be a line for it and everything. How much advanced child tax credit did you get? And your refund is going to be that much smaller. So my concern is that you're going to have taxpayers like this year that were surprised when unemployment was taxable. Because even though they excluded it up to $10,000, $10,200, there were people that got like $30,000 of unemployment, and they had zero withholding. So there were people that normally would have gotten back $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000 because they have children, whatever, that actually owed $600 or $700 or got back $600 or $700. Which you want to have a long meeting. Try telling somebody who's expecting $4,000 that they're only getting $400. Yeah, and of course it's my fault. What did I do wrong? No, you got unemployment. You had no withholding. They gave that to me? Yep, they gave it to you. Now they're taking it back. So what's going to happen? You're getting this advanced money. July 15th, these checks are going to start coming out, or it's going to be direct deposited. They're going to use it. How they're going to know how much to give you? They're going to use your 2020 tax information. 2019 or 2020 is what they're saying. Most likely your 2020 tax information. So whatever children you had on there, whatever information you had on there, or your mailing address, that's the information, your bank account information, that's what they're going to use. Now, what if you're a non-filer and you have these children? You're going to need to go to this portal tool that they've created, okay, irs.gov. Just go to irs.gov and just look for the non-filer tool. It's right there. It's a little blue box. You click on it. It says non-filers, enter payment info here, and you're going to click on that, and it's going to automatically enroll you for these advance payments. Now, that's one tool they're going to have, and that is for non-filers, people who normally don't file tax returns but are eligible for you're going to be, because of the new law, eligible for these credits, okay? Now, what if you have the option to opt out of getting this money? And as I said earlier, why would you want to do that? There's a lot of reasons people would want to do this. And my advice to some people is, do you need the money now? Again, this is one-on-one advice I have for my clients. So I'm not on the radio today to tell people what to do. I just want you to think about this. It's great they're giving you this money now, but don't forget you're not going to get it later. That's the whole point. You're not going to get it later. And then there's another topic. And there are many people in this boat. What if you had custody of a child in 2020, but you don't have custody of that child in 2021? And this happens to a lot of people. There are married couples that residency changes. children will live with one couple, with one parent 1 year or more than 6 months in 1 year, and the next year they'll live more than 6 months with the other parent. I see it. It happens a lot more than you would think. And again, non-custodial parents, custody changes for whatever reason, a number of thousands of reasons. Why? Maybe the grandparents now have custody. Maybe a third party now has custody. That's the person that's entitled. That child tax credit is not about you, the taxpayer. It's actually about that child. That's their money, technically. I mean, they're giving you that money because of them. And you're raising them. So this is going to raise a lot of issues and a lot of questions. Should you opt out or not? Please have that discussion. Jim's looking at the clock. How much time do I got left? 4 minutes. Please talk to your tax professional, or at least sit down and look at it. Should you get the money now, or should you opt out of it? I've actually got quite a few people that we've looked at it, and the best thing for them is to opt out. I mentioned earlier people that are self-employed. They treat this money almost as an estimated tax payment. When we calculate how much tax they're going to owe, how much tax they're going to pay, they say, well, we know, we have these children. I get $6,000 whatever dollars for child tax credit because we kind of know where they're going to be financial, their income's going to be. So, okay, that'll be applied to it. And it's just going to reduce what they owe. So that is in the mix. If you're one of those people that does that, you need to sit down and look at this. Do you want this money now, or do you want this money later? Now, and this is the part where I said it's moving really fast. They were supposed to have had this tool up already for you to opt out. This is another tool, not the non-filer tool. This is another tool. It was supposed to be up. Now they're saying it should be live by July 1st. And these payments are going to start coming out July 15th. So I don't know, and I haven't gotten this answer yet, can you opt out mid-season? What if you decide in August you want to opt out? Will you be able to? We don't know because we haven't seen the tool. And they're not answering this question. I guess they're just assuming everybody's going to want this money. So, and by the way, interesting, we did this before. I want to say 15 years ago, you could get your advanced earned income tax credit. So you as an employer, your employee would fill out a form, give it to you, and say, I want advanced earned income tax credit. And you would reduce their withholding by that amount, or actually even give them more money. Of course, the government would then turn around, when you did your 941, they would turn around and that would be a deduction on the amount of money you paid. So the employee would get an advance on earned income tax credit. It was a dismal failure. I mean, this is an invitation for fraud. This really is. This is literally just opening up. That program cost our government, cost you and me, billions and billions of dollars in waste and fraud. So they stopped it. I can't remember when they stopped it. I want to say it was right around 2013, 2014. They didn't do it for very long because they had so many problems with it. And they stopped doing it. So this has been done before. It's been tried before, and it's failed before. So if anybody of my clients that are listening, you have questions, feel free to give me a call. I'm not shy about talking. Feel free to give me a call. Jim, do you have any questions?
Gilbert, it's such a thrill to have you back in here to talk about this because it is so complicated for the average citizen to understand what's going on with that. So glad you're here to do that. We miss you on the radio on Saturday mornings. Gilbert Talks Taxes. When are you coming back?
Soon. I'm going to have a meeting with you next week about that.
All right, great.
And I want to expand the show and talk about other things too with financial planning. I just want to talk about money because that really is the root of all this, and in a good, happy way.
And this is probably not the last of changes they'll make, I'm sure, with the budget and the tax.
Yes.
IRS.
Yes, and actually this was all part of that March 11th law that's just being kicked in now. Right now, we're not expecting any new thing. We'll have the extenders at the end of the year. That's the December thing where they look at those laws. But we're not expecting there's nothing else coming down the pipe. And we're getting ready to get into an election cycle. I think this is going to be about it.
Stay tuned for My Great America with Jim and Butch coming up at 9:05 this morning. Butch, Gilbert, we're always happy to have you in the studio with us. Come back anytime. Anytime a new issue comes up, let us know. We'll put you right back up. It's going to be beautiful weather here in the neighborhood for the next few days. Sunny and warm. Highs around 85 for our daytime high. And right now we're at 64 degrees. 64 degrees. And remember, tomorrow we start our series with the Forest City Owls, broadcasting their road games, some of them. And we'll be available to do that. So tune in, and we'll have that first game. They're doing a double header, and we'll be able to join that right after our 5 o'clock newscast. We'll join their process some. We'll get involved with that somehow. So you be sure to hang with us through the Brave season and the Owl season and all the activities that are taking place. We're always glad to be a part of your life. Thank you for being part of ours. News is next.
The music's on us on WCAB.
Claims more people out of work even as COVID restrictions ease. ABC's Aaron Katersky's been tracking the numbers.
The number of Americans filing new claims for unemployment benefits increased last week by 37,000 to 412,000. It breaks a string of consecutive weekly declines in jobless claims and suggests layoffs persist despite a strengthening of the U.S. economy and an insistence among employers that they can't find enough workers.
President Biden's back at the White House this morning following his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. While in Geneva, ABC's Rachel Scott asked Putin about human rights and the imprisonment of dissident Alexei Navalny. Putin compared Navalny's supporters to those who stormed the Capitol January 6th, then to Black Lives Matter. Scott with President Biden's reaction.
He called out the Black Lives Matter movement. He called out the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. President Biden calling it an absolutely ridiculous comparison. He says you cannot equate those that are being prosecuted for breaking and entering the Capitol to those that are being severely punished, all because they are critics and rivals of Russian President Putin.
Today, President Biden is expected to sign a bill making Juneteenth the nation's 12th federal holiday. The Delta variant of the coronavirus is spreading rapidly, especially in states with low vaccine numbers. As to how it affects those who catch it, Brown University School of Public Health Dean Dr. Ashish Jha.
We have seen some preliminary evidence that maybe we get more headaches with this than some of the others, but I think that's preliminary. We've got to sort it out. Ultimately, if you're having any of these symptoms, you got to go get tested. You got to talk to your doctor.
The heat wave in the West is persisting. Denny Boyles is with the power company in Fresno, California. He's asking folks to please cut back on their power use.
Maybe you're running your dishwasher later in the evening or earlier in the day. Same with the washing machine and dryer.
People are being asked to set thermostats at 78 degrees in California. You're listening to ABC News.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Nasal irrigation gets rid of germs by rinsing the nasal cavity, but neti pots are hard to use and, frankly, kind of gross. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. Millions use Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now it's time to start cleaning your nose with Navage. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
A police officer in Israel now facing charges in the death of a Palestinian man.
Israel charging a police officer with second-degree murder for killing an autistic Palestinian man in Jerusalem's Old City last year. The officer, whose name is under gag order, faces up to 12 years in prison for fatally shooting Iyad Halak. The officer allegedly ignored the orders of his superior not to shoot and was told Halak was disabled and unarmed. Then Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu admitting it was a mistake. It's a case that triggered protests against police brutality and drew comparisons to George Floyd. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Just over a month away from the start of the Summer Olympics in Japan, and the government there now says it will end the COVID state of emergency covering several areas, including Tokyo. The Olympics, however, as well as Wimbledon, will miss out on having one of the best tennis players in the world. Rafael Nadal says He's out.
Rafa says he's been listening to his body, and his body says take a break. In his words, the idea is to prolong his career and continue to do what makes him happy. That is, to compete at the highest level. He recently reached the French Open semis this month, but lost to rival Djokovic. The Spaniard's taken the title twice at Wimbledon. He's also won the Olympic gold medal in singles at the 2008 Games in Beijing. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
This is ABC News.
O'Reilly. Ready for an oil change? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are here to help. We'll make sure you have all the supplies you need to make the job quick and easy. Right now, get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $28.95. Plus, get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. We're waking up to a mostly clear to partly cloudy sky. It's a little bit cooler and less humid again this morning, and we'll see a lovely afternoon. Mostly sunny sky today with another cool and less humid day ahead. Our highs today in the low to mid 80s. We're back in the mid to upper 50s and low 60s Friday morning. Plenty of sunshine Friday afternoon, though it will be a hotter day. Highs Friday in the upper 80s and low 90s. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
From 57 to 67 in a matter of about 3 hours here this morning, so the temperature is climbing fast, and we should be getting up to about 85 for a daytime high this morning with sunny skies. And we're happy you hung around with us because we got My Great America with Jim and Butch coming up next.
It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
And here we are back again with a 30-minute program, 25-minute program of My Great America with Jim and Butch. Jim in the Blue Room and Butch on the road again. Good morning, Butch. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jim. I'm doing great. I'm down here in Florida in the Orlando area. You know, I haven't quite figured out if they pronounce it Kissimmee or Kissimmee. Do you know?
I think it's Kissimmee.
Okay. Well, you know what? What I've learned is what I don't know.
Yeah.
And, you know, Todd, by the way, the other day was telling me what a hoe cake is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had no idea what that was. And then, and as he explained it, it seemed like, you know, you put a bunch of batter in a frying pan, and then you got this huge, looks like Bojangles biscuit that comes out. Later in the day, Jim, he actually sent me a picture.
I tell you, hang around this place, Butch, and you're going to learn a lot of good things that's going to go with you through the rest of your life.
And then I'm such a dutiful student. I'm ready to share with other people, and they're not always as interested in learning what a hoe cake is as I am. Folks, this is My Great America with Jim and Butch, and I have the distinct privilege of representing Jim and WCAB down here at the Faith and Freedom Coalition. It's an annual meeting that they have. The Faith and Freedom Coalition is a national grassroots movement. It's got over 2 million conservatives and people of faith. They all support time-honored values, stronger families, individual freedom. You know, a friend from years ago, Ralph Reed, started this organization. And, Jim, you actually have interviewed him, right?
I have. I had a privilege of meeting Ralph a number of years ago, and I got acquainted with him, and we struck up a friendship, and I invited him to be on my radio show. I don't know, it's been 3 or 4 years ago now, and he agreed to do that. So we chatted about his organization and the effect it was having on the lives of many people and how people should get involved with it. So he's a delightful person to have.
Well, and you know what? Our history, I've mentioned this before, goes back to the late 90s. The late 80s and early 90s, where he and I were 2 of the 11 vice presidents there at CBN, and we were younger and certainly didn't have gray hair or less hair or the wrinkles that we do now. But I've always appreciated so much his commitment to be the tip of the spear, and over 2 million people, tip of the spear for the conservative movement, and over 2 million people are now part of the Faith and Freedom Coalition. If you're interested in learning more about this incredible organization, I'm going to encourage you as a listener, go to www.faithandfreedom.org. ffcoalition.com. www.ffcoalition.com. Rush Limbaugh, and we, in the spirit of Paul Harvey and Rush Limbaugh, we encourage people to be activists in an appropriate kind of way, with integrity and abiding by the law, of course. Rush Limbaugh used to say, stop complaining, do something about it. And, that's a penetrating look into the obvious. If you're concerned about the direction of America, if you don't like the way things are, don't sit on the sideline and curse the darkness. Light your fire. Shoot off your flare gun. Consider becoming part of the Faith and Freedom Coalition. That's www.ffcoalition.com. And Jim, we are going to have some incredible speakers here. Madison Cawthorn will speak. Governor DeSantis will speak. We're going to have Vice President Pence come, it appears. And so I will be flowing with the media that's here, your major broadcast media. And so we've got our little gun, to use the metaphor there, of WCAB, and I've got the little media badge. And so my mission field the next couple of days until Sunday when I come home will be to fly the flag from Rutherford County, Jim Bishop's WCAB. I'm out here as an emissary for everyone who's part of the My Great America family, Jim, and it's a real privilege to be able to do that.
I feel sure we'll be represented very well with your covering things for us and getting back with. Hopefully we'll have some interviews with some folks along the way. Then back up to Ralph Reed just a moment. I accused him some years ago of having a secret fountain of youth that he drinks from every day because he looks so young and stays looking young, although I know he's not as young as he is. Not as young as he looks.
Well, Jim, and this is maybe an appropriate point and juncture for me to say that dark bottle of elderberry juice in the refrigerator is almost at the bottom. And so you've been doing a good job of using your homeopathic remedies there. And I actually picked that up, by the way, to help with some of the sinus issues. I understand it might help with sinus matters. And Monty down there, the owner at Small Town Coffee Roasters on Court Street, go visit his place. It's so wonderful. And that's been the scene of very many unlikely conversations between the reborn conservative Butch Maltby and a number of even Democrats in the county. So, Jim, it's so great. I was thinking this morning as I got up, there's so many people that I've talked to that just lament what's happening with the country. But you know what? We need to remember, don't we, that God's in control. And I was reading in Exodus 14 this morning. Here you have this unbelievable exodus, the mobilization of millions of people liberated out of the oppressive captivity of Pharaoh and the Egyptians. God is clearly leading them. And what did the children of Israel do? They keep complaining. Every time there's a miracle, they're short-sighted and they've got memory issues. So in chapter 14, and I want this to be an encouragement for all of us today who look at the country and say, there's nothing we can do. In chapter 14 of Exodus, verse 13, you've got the Egyptians bearing down with their supercharged chariots, an army that's battle-tested, children of Israel there. And then Moses said to the people, don't be afraid. Take your stand. Be firm and confident and undismayed, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For those Egyptians you have seen today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you, while you only need to keep silent and remain calm. The Lord said to Moses, why do you cry to me? Tell the sons of Israel to move forward towards the sea. As for you, lift up your staff and stretch it out over your hand over the sea and divide it, so that the sons of Israel may go through the middle of the sea on dry land. You know what? We need to remember all the times things seemed impossible in this country, all the times things seemed incredibly impossible in our own lives. And what happened? God rescued us. And so, Jim, I really want us today to put out a clarion call to people that are listening or watching on YouTube, that today is not a day to be faint-hearted. Today is a day for us to, jerk ourselves up, gird up our loins, as it says in Scripture, and appropriately step into the battle. Don't you think?
Well, absolutely. And I was thinking, as you were saying, that there are so many things of the children of Israel that we can learn from, but we are so much like them when it comes to complaining, even though we have a lot of blessings sent our way, we still complain about those things we don't have. So we're a lot like them in many ways, aren't we?
We sure are, and it's a natural human tendency to forget, which is why I often make mention. The Old Testament talks about the Ebenezer stones, the stones of remembrance. What were those? That was when God intersected the children of Israel's lives and miracles took place. They would erect Ebenezer stones as a reminder, and a reminder of God's faithfulness. God has not taken his hand, I don't believe, off this nation, but we as his people, if my people, church people, people that follow God, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray. We've got to humble ourselves, and we've got to cry out to the only one who can take the Gordian knot of the situation we've gotten ourselves into as a nation, and he can make the crooked places straight again. And you know what, Jim? Today in history, this was a very momentous. Today's the 17th, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. Here's what's interesting. Listen to this. In 1775, it looked bleak. You know why? The British took Bunker Hill outside of Boston. It was a very, very costly battle for both sides. You know what happened in 1856?
I'm not sure.
Okay. The Republican Party opened its first national convention in Philadelphia on this day.
I was not.
Now, you know what happened?
I was not in attendance at that one.
Okay. But you know what, Jim? I can sense that there is a gentle understanding that you are getting older, just as I am. and you know what? The truth sets us free. So in 1856, the Republican Party opened its first national convention. Here was, I believe, a spiritual bellwether in our nation. In 1963, the United States Supreme Court, on this day, banned the required reading of the Lord's Prayer and Bible in public schools. It happened on this day, Jim, in 1963.
Sad.
And then in 1972, on this day, June 17th, 5 men were arrested for burglarizing the Democratic Party headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C., which set off the whole set of circumstances that resulted in Nixon leaving office. And then in 1994, in a sad display, millions of Americans watched former football player O.J. Simpson, facing murder charges, drive his Ford Bronco through Los Angeles, followed by police. And a lot of people use this as, they believe, the fountainhead of what we now know, sadly, as reality television. So all those things happened on June 17th, this day in history, Jim. But today is the day God's promised his mercies are new. They're new every morning. And so we're going to take hold of whatever he has for us today, which for me is going to involve a lot of interaction with media and hopefully some interviews where we can get some audio clips that we can use on our programs in the days ahead.
That'd be great.
You know, one of the speakers that we're going to have, Jim, is Mark Robinson, and I was doing a little research on him. He's a very remarkable man, isn't he?
Oh, he's a great guy, and I love him. I love to hear him speak. I've had an opportunity to meet him, shake hands with him, and he's the real man. He's the real thing.
He really is, as some people would say, he really is the real deal. You know what I didn't realize? I've got a brother, by the way, who teaches in a middle school, primarily a minority middle school, African American and Hispanic. His name is Mark Maltby. He, with his wife Esther, she grew up as a missionary child in Pakistan, of all places, and her father started a missions hospital that's still there that was only less than, I think, 10 or 12 kilometers away from the compound where they killed Osama bin Laden, which is an interesting side story to all of this. But Mark Robinson, from Greensboro, he was the 9th of 10 children, I've learned, and his father was extremely abusive. He and his siblings actually lived in foster care, and he graduated, I guess, from Grimsley High School, which is a well-known high school there in the Greensboro area. He served our country from 85 to 89 in the United States Army Reserve. He worked at a furniture factory, and then he began to study history at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. And then in April of 2018, which is not long ago, he attended a meeting of the Greensboro City Council, and they were debating, Jim, whether or not to cancel a gun show in the wake of the Stoneman Douglas High School shootings, which were so tragic. And as an African American and as a young conservative, he spoke in favor of gun rights. And that video, Jim, of his speech went viral after it was shared on Facebook by Mark Walker. He was invited to speak at the National Rifle Association's annual convention that year, and the rest, as they say, is history. So there's a remarkable backstory on him.
That's interesting to hear that background. I did not know that about his past, but when he speaks, from the very beginning, he opens his mouth, he is talking facts, and you cannot disagree with what he's saying because he's speaking right from the heart. As we used to say when I was doing some training with Dale Carnegie training, you earn the right to talk about something. He has certainly earned the right to talk about the things he's talking about. He's not padding it with some factual stuff that somebody else in him. It's in his heart that he's talking about. And I like that.
I like it a lot. And you know what? We shouldn't be surprised when somebody says what they mean and mean what they say. But Jim, we live in a culture. I did a church radio program for our church, my church, Word of Faith Fellowship, talking about things that I've learned in my 4 years here. It was the 4-year anniversary of my coming to Rutherford County. It was on June 14th, 2017. I visited for the first time. It's been the most transformative 4 years of my life, which is a different story. But we also need to remember in the midst of it all that God has called us to speak truly, live truly, love truly. But we live in a culture, and I used to help construct the fences people would sit on. You talk about sitting on the fence. I was like an architect for strategies for a lot of religious entities around the country to be so inclusive that there was a lack of conviction, a lack of character, and a lack of a rooting of conviction in Scripture. And I love when we have people that just say what they mean and mean what they say. Another one of those, Jim, is Florida's Republican Governor, Ron DeSantis.
Yes.
Don't you think he's really, he says it the way it is, and he's not a man or woman pleaser. He's going to be a person of conviction. And we saw that, by the way. He just signed a bill that I know you've been talking about that requires at least 1 minute of silence, possibly more in public schools at the beginning of every day so children can pray or meditate.
I think that's wonderful. He's one of the few governors across the nation that's rising up and said, hey, we got to do something different.
Right. And so he signed this HB 529 bill. It's known, by the way, as the Moment of Silence in Public Schools bill. It was signed into law on Monday, and under the law, Jim, public school principals are required to direct first-period teachers to institute moments of silence for 1 minute. And you know what? We need to be praying as Christian patriots, as conservatives that want to see us get back to the bedrock of what God founded in this country. We need to pray, Jim, that all across the country, that God will move on the hearts of our children during that minute. We know that God wants desperately for a relationship with people. And so we need to pray that way, don't we? That God will somehow turn the hearts of the children
and sometimes
the Father of all.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes during that moment of meditation is when that can happen. If we busy our minds with too much stuff going on, too much loud talking and too much of videos and too much loud music, we crowds out everything else. But that moment of silence, whether it's 60 seconds or 2 minutes, that could be a moment that young person or that student can really speak and hear something in their hearts.
Well, and Jim, do you remember in school? Because we are okay. Now I'm going to make my confession here. We are of the same generational cohort.
Yes.
You and I'm not far behind you. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So do you remember growing up in school, the Pledge of Allegiance? You remember the mornings of what school was like? I do.
Oh yes. Yeah, we even had someone from the principal's office. Every room had a speaker system. In the principal's office, someone would go in, a minister from the community, read a verse of Scripture, say a prayer, then we'd do the Pledge of Allegiance, and sometimes even sing the national anthem. That's where we came from.
I know, and whether it was the elementary school where I was in Laplace, Louisiana, or South Morrison Elementary in Newport News, Virginia, I remember there was something anchoring in the midst of a dysfunctional family life. I remember there was something anchoring about going into the classroom, having the principal come over the intercom system, as you said, having the Pledge of Allegiance. And I remember teachers that had Bibles on their desks, Jim.
Yes.
There was something about the anchoring foundational elements of prayer and commitment to our country that, the woke culture is trying to scrub all of that out. And it just really, it really is so very concerning. But rather than just be concerned, we need to be the bright light that people say, I want more of whatever you have.
And back in those days as well, not to live too far back there, but even then, if the student, a young child, or even an older teenager would say what we used to call bad words, the teacher would call them out on it and correct him on it. Now, we hear it coming from the teacher so many times, which is not a good thing.
Right. No, it's not a good thing. And I remember too, Jim, that there was a respect for authority. And listen, I'll confess this, and people that knew me would know this. I had a quiet kind of rebellion. When you're succeeding in the classroom or succeeding outside of it in extracurricular activities, you can hide your rebellion, but your rebellion is still rebellion, and it's sin, and it was wrong, and God's convicted me of it here even later in life. But I will tell you this: when the principal would come on the intercom and start calling out the names of students that were to come to the principal's office, there was a holy kind of reverence and fear.
That's exactly right.
And it could have been for something very benign. They just needed to see it for something else. And we have created in our culture an environment where it's you define the ethics, you define your morality, and you know what it is when people say, well, if it's good for you, that's great. And if it's good for me, that's great. No, that betrays the unshakable truth that there is universal, unshakable truth. And we find it in God's word, which is the inspired, infallible word of God. We've lost a lot of respect, which is one of the reasons why, Jim, I take it as a salutary exercise every day. And I know you do as well. If I see somebody that's got a cap on that reflects that they've had military service, I go over and thank them for their service.
Yes.
Every policeman or emergency worker, fire person, I really try to encourage them, as I know you do. And those are simple things we can do, right?
Absolutely. And I'd love to do that. Tell those guys and gals, both military as well as local officers, boy, you don't know how much we appreciate you. You do such a great job. Thank you for your service, because they put their lives on the line every day for us.
That is so true. Getting on the plane in Charlotte, I went from Greenville, Spartanburg, there at the Greer Airport, over to Charlotte, in part because my dear friend Pat Job, his wife Gabriel, and their rescue dog Boo took me to the airport, and we hadn't fellowshipped in a while. And we are so different on so many different levels, but it says in Scripture, the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit. We are called to love everyone, and so we don't bludgeon people with our convictions. I don't break, bend, or bow on any of my convictions with Pat. But you know what he loves? He loves that we can talk and we can share. And as I got to Charlotte, we had a little delay because of a mechanical problem, and then they boarded somebody on the plane, and he had lost a leg. He had military service in Vietnam. He was in a wheelchair. He had tattoos all over his body, and I could tell he was just kind of beat up. And I made it very focused to tell him, I am so grateful, as is your nation, for the service that you gave. And Jim, his eyes kind of teared up, and you just got the sense of this man who had poured out his life, you could tell, with stories that I'm sure were unthinkable, appreciated hearing the encouragement. And all of us need to be doing that whenever we're given the opportunity.
Doesn't take but just a minute.
Exactly. And Jim, you do that so well. It was one of the things that attracted me to you when I first met you, and we first had a coffee, I believe, there at Small Town Coffee Roasters, and you and I have made a covenant commitment that we're going to be bearers of light, bearers of encouragement, and bearers of truth. And as each of us make that commitment daily, God will honor it, but we cannot circumvent the reality that the only way that we can be an incandescent light of truth in our community is to make sure that we're right with God. So my benediction here is going to be, get into your Bible, ask Jesus to change your life, ask him to enlist you in the most important army of all, which is his. And as we all do that together, Jim, we're going to see a great county, a great North Carolina, and we're going to be part of a positive force to make our country everything that God has called it to be. I'll be making reports to you personally here the next couple of days. Look forward to seeing you again here soon.
Thank you, my friend. I'm looking forward to hearing reports from the Faith and Freedom Conference, and you enjoy and say hello to my friends.
All right. Blessings.
God
Bye-bye.
Bless. God bless America.
Thank you for joining us for My Great America with Jim and Butch. Join us each Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9:05 for this enlightening program on 100.9 FM and 590 AM. It's My Great America with Jim and Butch.